Hi everyone, I'm Whitney Heaton. I'm in my second year of the SAHI program. I cannot see the light at the end of the tunnel yet, so just taking classes 1 week at a time. I really enjoyed doing this project, in particular interviewing my academic dean for the Department of Art, Humanities, Business, and Technology. Her name is Rebecca Wolf, and the reason I chose her was because she is not only pursuing her PhD in higher education and student affairs leadership, but most of her professional background has been in instruction, getting her BA from the University of Denver, her master's with an emphasis in education from the University of Colorado, Denver. She's definitely been on the instructional side of the university and leadership for most of her career since 1992. So I thought it fascinating that now she's decided to pursue her career or pursue her PhD in student affairs. Not only that, she was a mentor for me when I was deciding to start a master's program, and she was very helpful in helping me figure out what my path would be. We're still working on what that path is, but I'm very grateful to her for now. And it was very nice to hear her feedback on my paper, which my critical issues paper I actually wrote on the Fair Labor Standards Act that was passed in May of this year, and also on Title IX. Her main feedback was kind of rearranging paragraphs and helping me to find a focus. The two topics are fairly large in themselves, and before starting the paper I didn't have a complete understanding of really either one. But I chose both of them because I thought they would be interesting. Very difficult to write an organized and concise paper on topics that I needed to do a lot of research on. So one of the things that stuck out for me was the biggest thing that she said that somebody told her when she was pursuing her master's was that nobody cares what a master's student thinks as they're pursuing their master's degree. And she apologized if that sounded mean. However, it really helped me to, and this is one of my important takeaways, which I'll recap in a moment, that I need to use as many resources as possible from notable researchers and also peer-reviewed articles when writing papers. So that helped me to think forward to future papers and how I'm going to pursue research there and hopefully organize those thoughts a little bit better. Her critical issues that she was extremely passionate about and actually had to cut herself off on the second one is the first one being the influence of financially backed organizations on higher ed policies, specifically citing the Lumina Foundation and also the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. She said that in all of the conferences and the meetings that she's been to about policy, that everyone thinks they know how to fix higher education, and it's creating a situation where there are too many hands in the pot and nothing is really getting done in the best interest of the higher education institutions on the whole. And mostly they don't know exactly what educators do, whether that be in the student affairs field or the instructor field. We're all in it together. So what I found from the Fair Labor Standards Act, in some cases, she mentioned that it didn't actually apply to too many of her faculty members that she oversees, because she does oversee associate dean and the faculty members in her department. It really only affected one person, and they needed a minimal raise in order to get them up to the Fair Labor Standards Act salary requirement of just about $47,000 a year. But the Fair Labor Standards Act was really passed without actually thinking about the effects of higher education that it would have on higher education. I think about residential campuses with hall directors, and they may make a smaller salary, but they get their food and their boarding paid for, which isn't included in the cannot be included in the salary to get them up to that wage level. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how that plays out. So she was saying that it makes it very difficult because the government also has a huge hand in the pot, creating more and more federal regulations and increased accountability, and requiring educational institutions to prove themselves and their worth over and over and over again. And the focus of the higher education institution gets lost because we're trying to prove our worth all the time. The second part, and she was extremely passionate about this, is the higher cost of education, and that it's growing more than the cost of healthcare and more than the cost of insurance. Specifically, she cited the Colorado budget and the allocation that we have in allocating an equal amount of funds to higher education and also to prisons. So, so she said that the priorities are a little bit skewed, and then she had to stop herself before she started going off because we were coming to the end of our hour and she had another meeting afterwards. So the higher cost of education, you can see, is clearly on her high priority list, and she has, in a few of her initiatives, she is involved in her strategic enrollment and management committee, making sure that students are coming in, they're transitioning and graduating in a timely manner so they're not wasting their time or their money. Three important takeaways that I had. One of them specifically, advice on writing a paper. It's definitely not one of my strong suits, and it was really great to have that feedback from a mentor and then also someone who is currently going through a student affairs program to get their perspective. Because of an online program, I feel pretty distant from CSU in general and the connections. So it was a great reminder that I do have resources in the institution that I'm currently working for, and to not be afraid to ask them for help and for their feedback. The second one is reminding me how far connections can really go. Another initiative that she's working on is a First in the World grant, and it's a grant working with MIT in Massachusetts, and the connection between a community college in Littleton, Colorado, and with MIT is just, she asked somebody to put her in touch with someone if they were working on a big project. So keeping them in mind. And the project is making technology more efficient for instructors and professors to use their skills in the classroom and apply that to technology using iPads. So mobility of the classroom. And then the third thing is the function of a college requires everybody and lots of conversations. The Strategic Enrollment Management Committee is made up of several faculty members, deans, and is headed by the Vice President of Student Affairs, who works closely with the Vice President of Instruction. They meet twice monthly to discuss what their goals are, and then also to move forward and figure out exactly what they need to do in order to build registration, retention, and graduation. So, like I said, I really enjoyed meeting and interviewing with Rebecca Wolf. I think she's going to continue to be a great mentor, both from an instructional side and then also if I can get her to read more of my papers. So thank you so much, and sorry it's a little bit long.